The lunar bases are considered impregnable, hidden behind technologies capable of rendering walls permeable. In secrecy, highly advanced researchers observe human behavior, test reactions, and analyze our deepest thoughts and ambitions. This video takes you into a world of hidden contacts, invisible companions, and a future in which humanity is more than just an object of research. Hello, my name is Frank Harfer, and in the Akasha-Interviews I work as an information medium, documenting and publishing questions and answers about consciousness, humanity, and our place in the universe. With that said, let's turn to the question. Entry A, 234. The Moon. Part 5. The Moon's inhabitants are very particular when it comes to who is allowed to visit them. To prevent uninvited beings from gaining access to the lunar bases, the entrance passages are well protected and hidden. We mean that for you, humans at present, they are insurmountable, because most beings can practically walk through walls. When a human wishes to walk through a wall, a door or a window is required. When an extraterrestrial being wishes to walk through a wall, only a bit of technology is required. This also means that the many entrances are not corridors in the usual sense, but are created temporarily, and once the being has passed through the opening, it disappears again, and the intact wall remains, preventing anyone from passing through. This technology is also used at many entrances to the lunar bases, and we also mean that on your planet there are countless spaces that have been constructed in the same way so as to be inaccessible to you. Whether a chamber, a hall, or merely a small area for a book has been created within rock. Whoever does not know the exact location will search for it in vain. The lunar bases are protected in this way, but only against beings who are as technologically backward as humans. Whoever possesses this technology could enter anywhere, even into foreign bases. Therefore, many security mechanisms exist so that no unwanted visitor can appear. When the Moon's inhabitants wish to visit another base, they register in advance. Usually beings are not denied access, but if someone has previously attracted negative attention, access may be refused. Each base fulfills different tasks. Some tasks are assigned by the Moon's Council, so we would say that every base has certain duties to fulfill that benefit all Moon inhabitants. If a group refuses to comply with its tasks, this can lead to the group's banishment. There are no Moon inhabitants who are bored because all have a task, otherwise they would not be on the Moon. Many beings are technically very skilled, so that much which could break down is repaired beforehand. The devices and the lunar base are maintained by many beings, allowing the researchers to pursue their work unhindered. How does such a researcher work? The contacted individuals are observed, and this can happen in various ways. One way would be mental observation. In this case, the researcher projects a part of their consciousness near the person. Just as spiritual beings can, most researchers can be present in several places, at least with a portion of their consciousness. So they often participate in the lives of individuals in the form of observations. When researchers proceed in this way, they are also able to communicate with the person. This is roughly how the first contact attempts arise. The person usually does not recognize any difference between speaking with a researcher or a spiritual being. When the researcher produces illustrative material, small drones are sent to the person, which record much concerning that individual. These drones are often used to create material on site that can later be studied. They do not merely record everything visually and acoustically. They are also capable of scanning the body itself, thus creating a comprehensive impression of the situation and the people. The researchers could also view moments in the Akashic Chronicle, but they rarely do so, since collected data is easier to process. The researchers have another way of conducting their studies. They can place themselves within a human being. They would be capable of accompanying a human. By this, we mean the following. Humans can mentally connect with spiritual beings. Spiritual beings can also accompany humans. This is falsely demonized among you as possession, but it is merely the coexistence of two beings. The spiritual being projects a portion of its consciousness to the location of another being. It then links itself with the other being simply to be carried along. In this way, the other being can constantly be where, for example, the person is. This is a normal procedure, and many beings are unaware of it. Researchers can also use this method with their contacts and thus always be with the person. In this case, they maintain the connection as long as necessary. If the person is very sensitive and might notice it, these beings choose individuals from the person's close surroundings. This is more advantageous than the first version, because the researcher does not have to actively seek out new locations, but is automatically carried along. To those who now cry out and claim that this has a negative influence on the person, we say the following. High-frequency beings who practice this always transmit energy from themselves to the person so that the person actually feels better than before, because this energy from these beings offers humans an advantage. The researchers are always interested in human behavior, so the drones can also physically influence the environment. By this, we mean that technical devices are influenced in order to observe the behavior of individuals. If a contact continues and real meetings occur, the person is always given tasks that must be solved. The devices involved seem to most people as though they have come from a futuristic film, and at first they cannot believe what they are experiencing. Therefore, memories of these meetings are often erased if the person reacts differently than expected. By this, we particularly mean encounters with non-human-like beings. This remains a major obstacle and often leads to parts of memories being missing. As we said before, no contact may influence a person's life plan. That the person is influenced by such contact is beyond question, but there must be no negative influence. The researchers are in close contact with the spiritual world, so it is determined beforehand how far a contact may go. The physical well-being of a person is never endangered. All stories about abductions are for the most part untrue. This does not mean that the individuals fantasize or tell untruths, but what they believe they experienced may have been placed in their memories in another way, and does not always have anything to do with extraterrestrials. If it does, it can be said that they are not the researchers from the moon, who merely study human life and do not wish to cause harm through their influence. However, the moon's inhabitants do not consist only of researchers, so we mean that some groups and individuals also act differently. Several groups also argue among themselves, for many represent different viewpoints that can escalate into heated debates. Many moon inhabitants are extremely intelligent, so most beings do not even consider negatively influencing human life. They also do not intervene when humans are in distress. That belongs to it as well. The lives of individuals are studied, they are tested, and humans also benefit from this. But some misunderstand the approaches of these beings, which then leads to the stories occasionally heard. Some contacted humans can remain on the moon, or they are allowed to travel with the researchers. This always generates outstanding moments within their inner universes, so that these individuals benefit enormously from it. Many of the humans on the moon grow very old and help wherever they can. Humans from Earth are perceived from a great distance by these beings because humans can hardly control their aura. When humans appear, their aura captivates all beings. Emotions are very strongly expressed in humans, so that a human may seem like an unusually colorful bird of paradise to many beings, because most beings have never encountered such a being. Many beings can learn from humans, and humans can learn much from other beings. One day such contact will no longer be rare, and all will benefit from it. That is what everyone assumes. This entry, along with many others, is available on my website. The content is published in German, but modern browsers make translation straightforward. You'll find a direct link to this blog entry and further helpful information in the video description.